Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. If you were watching the first attempt at this live stream and you were one of the ones who let me know that you couldn't hear the audio, thank you so much. Greatly appreciate that. We were able to figure out what the issue was and get it resolved. So hopefully everybody can hear me great right now. If you're just joining for the first time, I'll reintroduce myself. If you are new to my Facebook page or my YouTube channel, my name is Ginger Pierce, and I'm a travel agent with Marvelous Mouse Travels. We are an earmarked Platinum authorized Disney vacation planner agency. And what that just means is that we are recognized by Disney as providing exceptional customer service and as being experts in their vacation products. And Disney recently invited our agency to experience the brand new Star Wars Galactic StarCruiser. And I was lucky enough to get chosen as one of 4 agents who got to go along for this experience. And I just got back on Saturday, so it's all, fresh in my memory. I have had so many clients who have reached out and, wanted to know, oh, did you love it? Did you think it was worth it? I've had several friends and family who have asked the same thing. And so that's the purpose of tonight, is just to kind of go on and give you guys a little bit of an overview of my experience on the Galactic StarCruiser. Now, if you are wanting a really, really deep dive into the experience, then keep your eyes on my YouTube channel. If you're not watching us on YouTube right now, you can find us at youtube.com/GingerMMT. But in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be releasing pretty much, a ton of footage, pretty much footage of almost everything we did, and it's along with my thoughts on it and my review of it. But for tonight, I'm just going to give you kind of an overview. I do have a lot of pictures that I'm going to share with you tonight. I'm also going to show you some of the fun merchandise that I got on board. But this is just to give you an overall idea of whether this experience might be something that you and your family would enjoy together. So I'm going to, kind of answer a series of questions that I have gotten from different people tonight. But if you think of a question that I'm not addressing, I would love to take those questions and address them. So feel free to drop those in the comment at any point in time, and I'll come back and answer those questions for you. But the first question that I'm going to answer tonight is just generally, what is StarCruiser? How would I describe StarCruiser? And it really is difficult to put StarCruiser into just a few words, but it is an all-inclusive, immersive Star Wars experience. The tagline for StarCruiser is that you get to live your Star Wars story. And that is absolutely 100% what it is. Speaking as someone who goes to Disney quite frequently, I have experienced a lot of what Disney has to offer. I have done many of the character meals. I've done many of the special events like the Halloween and Christmas parties, the after hours events. I've experienced a lot of what Disney World has. I have never done anything like this. This was the most unique, immersive experience that I have ever had. I enjoyed it as an adult, but for children, this is something that, this is the stuff that dreams are made of for kids, especially if they love Star Wars, because from the moment you step foot on that ship, you are drawn into the story. You can be as much or as little involved in it as you want to, but you have the opportunity to live your Star Wars dream on StarCruiser. And it's themed after a cruise in space. So a lot of kind of the ways that it is set up, the way that things are done is very much like what you would find on an actual cruise. And that includes, some of the things that come along included with the price tag. So that's what I'm going to talk about next, is what's included. So this is an all-inclusive experience. Most things that you're going to eat and drink are going to be included in the price that you pay for your voyage. Now, there are some optional upcharges if you want specialty beverages and things like that. But for the most part, anything that you would eat is going to already be included in your cruise fare. So you board at 1:00 in the afternoon. You immediately have the opportunity to go to lunch, and you can see pictures of some of the food that we enjoyed on the screen now. But you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner in Crown of Corellia dining room. And just like on a cruise, there is the option of early dining versus late dining, but you're never far from food because they have snacks in the main atrium area. They have a lounge that serves appetizers that are also included in your price. I enjoyed quite a few lattes because the lattes are also complimentary. So that was maybe kind of a dangerous thing to give me unlimited access to lattes. Probably my caffeine intake was a little bit over the top. But there's no shortage of food, and your food is included in the price that you pay for your voyage. Now, I happen to have a few dietary restrictions. I am a type 2 diabetic. I also have some allergies to fruits and things like that. And I can say that Disney is always good about that, and that carries on to StarCruiser. They were so careful with my allergies. They were always very careful to mark my plate. We had the same server at dinner both nights, and she actually, prior to each meal, had spoken with the chef and came to me and informed me of what I could and could not have in the offerings. And I was able to have most things. Saw several other passengers who were talking to the chef directly about nut allergies or gluten sensitivities. So they were really, really good about that. Also included in your voyage fare are obviously your accommodations. And the rooms on the StarCruiser are fantastic. They are themed down to the smallest, most minute detail. You truly do feel like you are in space. The particular room that we stayed in was a 5th sleeper. So it had a queen size bed. It had 2 berths, and those are large enough to sleep an adult. So those bunk beds, for lack of a better word, are not just for children. They do accommodate adults. And then there was also a single pull down bed in our room. And so we were able to sleep 4 adults very comfortably in this room, but you could sleep up to 5 if people wanted to share that queen size bed. You also in your room have a droid, which is really fun. She's interactive. To call her, you just push the white button all the way on the left of the screen that you see in this picture. And if you are nice to your droid, she can actually unlock access to certain parts of the ship for you. And so if you want to take place in some of those more interactive elements, your droid can actually be a really great ally for that. So speaking of interactive experiences, those are also included in your voyage fare. So a lot of this takes place through the Disney Play app. And that is something that when you are waiting to check in, they will actually help you set up or kind of guide you through the process of setting up the Disney Play app. But you declare your allegiance pretty much right off the bat. So you'll see I have, mixed ears here because you can choose to go with the dark side, or you can choose to go with the light side of the Force based on how you answer those questions in the Disney Play app. There are several characters that are involved in your Star Wars experience that interact with you, but they also send you communications through the Disney Play app, or your data pad as it's called on board. And you have different missions that you're supposed to complete. You have different places in the ship that you're able to kind of unlock and gain extra access to these things. So that is included. We got to do lightsaber training, which was one of the coolest things I've ever done on any vacation. I felt like a 10-year-old child, and because that was how old I was when I discovered Star Wars, so it kind of transports you back. That was so fun. We also did bridge training where we learned how to operate some of the weapon systems on the ship. We did a lot of stuff, and the story follows you through all of those elements, which is really cool. I can't talk about the interactive experiences without talking about the characters. This is not your typical character interaction. There are characters that were created specifically for StarCruiser, but there are also some very well-known, I'm not going to spoil specifically who, but there are also some very well-known Star Wars characters who show up on StarCruiser, and you are spending lots of time with them. And you have the opportunity to really engage with them and to have them be part of your Star Wars story. So it is the most unique character experience I've ever had at Disney World. And the original characters that are created for this experience are fantastic. You see Gaia and Lieutenant Croy in this picture here. Gaia is the entertainer. She is the superstar who is on board, and she is phenomenal. She entertains at several different times through the voyage. Beautiful voice, fantastic actress. Lieutenant Croy is a representative of the First Order, and he is absolutely hilarious. So if you have children who are going to be traveling with you, you don't have to worry about them being afraid of Lieutenant Croy, because he does a really good job of being formidable, but being approachable and fun and funny for these kids to interact with. So all of the characters, I cannot speak highly enough to their talent at being able to improvise, at being able to be great with children, interact with adults, stay in character, keep the story going. They were phenomenal, as Disney cast members always are. Also included in your voyage fare is admission to Galaxy's Edge in Hollywood Studios. You have the opportunity to visit from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. You actually have your own private entrance from StarCruiser into Galaxy's Edge. So that's really cool. You also have different missions that you can choose to complete while you're in Galaxy's Edge. You have lightning lanes included for the Galaxy's Edge attraction. So that would be Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, as well as Rise of the Resistance, which that's a pretty tremendous value in and of itself, because Rise of the Resistance is the most expensive individual lightning lane purchase at Disney World. It comes included. Also included is a reservation at Oga's Cantina. Now, if you want to purchase a drink or a snack there, that's not included. That would be an upcharge. But also included in your voyage fare at no additional charge is a meal voucher for Docking Bay 7. And so that's a really great value as well. So you get to spend a lot of quality time in Galaxy's Edge. In fact, if you're thinking about StarCruiser, I really do recommend that when you go on your Batu planet excursion, which is what they call it, that you don't venture back to Earth in the other parts of the park, that you kind of just stay contained in Galaxy's Edge, because it really does keep you in the story, keep you in the theme. And there's so much to do if you really participate in those missions. We didn't even have time to complete all the different missions that we wanted to in Batu. So definitely get an early start, get there as early as you can, do as much as you can in Batu, and then make your way back on board by 4 p.m. You also get valet parking, which is really nice. And you also have, just multiple opportunities to interact with the Star Wars story in other ways that I'm not going to necessarily spoil for you at this point in time. So that's what's included in your voyage fare. Now, before we move on to the last and final question that I've gotten from a lot of people, and that is whether or not, I think that this experience is worth it, I wanted to show you a few of the things that came home with me. We're going to do a merch haul really quickly of all the things that I purchased or was given on board. So when you're checking in, you are given your M band, which is, essentially a magic band. But they don't call it a magic band because that would make you think you're at Disney World, and you're not. You're in space. So it's an M band. You can only get this particular magic band if you've stayed on the StarCruiser. So you're not able to purchase this anywhere. So that's pretty fun bragging rights. Anytime I wear this magic band, people are going to know I've been on the StarCruiser. So bragging rights with that for sure. This is a magic band that I purchased for my husband, and you can only purchase this magic band on the StarCruiser. So I brought this home to him and linked it to his My Disney Experience account. These are just some themed elements to show you kind of the attention to detail. This is what they give you if you purchase something in the gift shop. This is what your receipt comes in. Now you'll notice here it says Chandrila Star Line. That is the cruise line that you are sailing through outer space on. And so that's also what my shirt says here, which obviously I got on board as well. This is our luggage tag. So again, it's themed after the star line there. This is a Christmas ornament. Everywhere we go on vacation, or anytime I go on like a training trip, we always pick up a Christmas ornament. So I brought that home for my family. Sit that right down here. I also collect coffee mugs. So of course I had to purchase one of those as well. This is the logo for the Chandrila Star Line, and you'll see that all over the place when you're on board the Halcyon. And speaking of something you can only get if you have been on board, I know you can't really see that super well because of the glare. This you can only get if you have stayed on the Halcyon. So when you go on your planetary excursion to Batu, they give you this pin and they ask you to wear it while you're there. And that lets everyone on Batu know that you are a passenger on the Halcyon. And that also gains you access to a passengers only area in Galaxy's Edge. It's a nice, cool, shaded area where there's benches to sit down. There's water that they give you free of charge there. Typically, you have to pay for these if you're not staying on the Halcyon. If you want to get those in Galaxy's Edge, they give them to you for free in this little area. So it's a great place to kind of take a break, cool off, and that's also where you can wait to board the next transport. So this is a really cool souvenir as well, because you can only get that if you stayed on the Halcyon. And then I'm going to try to show this without disconnecting any of my mics or anything, but this is a really great laptop bag that I purchased in the gift shop as well. And, it's going to be my park bag every time we go to Hollywood Studios from here till eternity. So that's just a selection of some of the merchandise. I think we did have a question from Katie come through, so I'll address that one really quickly before. What was my favorite mission in Batu? Oh, that's a good question. There was something that we had to go to Oga's, and we had to get a particular piece of information from one of the cast members who was working at Oga's. And then we had to give that secret information to someone back on the ship so that they could perform some task. I'm trying not to spoil too much of the story. So that was probably my favorite. I also had to hack into a control panel while I was there to download some information to give to someone back on the ship so that they could perform a specific task. It was very cool. I felt kind of like a super spy while I was doing all those things. And that's, a lot of the times that's what you're doing. You're hacking things, you're getting access codes, you're doing different things like that. So it's lots of fun. Now, one thing that I didn't put a banner, I didn't tell my husband to make one of these nice banners right here for, but that is like, how do you dress for StarCruiser? That is a question that I know I asked when I found out that I was going to get to go. And I think it's a common question that a lot of people have. So I will address that kind of quickly. Laura, it is cool. You guys would love it because I know what Star Wars fans you guys are. But I will say that, dress is not something that now, having had this experience, that I would stress about quite as much as I did at first. You can see here, this is what we wore on arrival day. We went for like a Star Wars bounding type of thing. So we were not in like full costume. Now, several people there were. And if you want to go in full costume, you absolutely can, and you will fit right in. But we tried to go more for outfits that were kind of inspired by Star Wars. And there were several other people doing that too. There were also people there in shorts and t-shirts. So you really can wear whatever you want. At dinner, people do tend to dress up a little bit more, but it's not formal or semi-formal by any stretch. On the day when you go on your planetary excursion to Batu, most people were in shorts and t-shirts because you're going to be on Batu, which has a climate very similar to a theme park in Central Florida. So you want to dress accordingly, right? But people even had this, Batuian, if that's how you say it, headgear on that day as well. You didn't see as much Batuian headgear on the other days, but you definitely did on the day of our planetary excursion. So don't stress about clothing. Whatever you choose to wear, you're going to fit right in. Now, you can't wear, because it's against the rules in Batu, you can't wear full costume into Batu. So that's one reason why a lot of our friends who were in full costume for the rest of the voyage were not on Batu Day, because the restrictions in Batu say that you can't be. So that's one thing to keep in mind. But the last, I think we had a couple more comments come through, and I don't want to overlook those. Can't wait. Your nerdy husband will love it, Katie. You will love it too. I honestly think that you don't have to be a super Star Wars fan to love this. Now, I am. I am hardcore, diehard Star Wars fan, have been since I was a kid. So you can imagine how much I loved this. One of the other people I was there with, same thing. She loves Star Wars. She and I wanted to do every mission. We were walking around Batu together doing a lot of those things. The other two, one is a casual Star Wars fan, and the other she doesn't dislike it, but it's just not her thing. It's not something she's really into. All four of us had fun. And that was one of the things that really surprised me the most about StarCruiser was the wide variety of people that this appealed to. We saw, of course, families with young children there. We saw like young professional friend groups who were there together. We saw young couples who were there together. In fact, there was one couple who was there on their honeymoon. They actually had like a special photo session, which was really sweet. We saw multi-generational families where grandparents, parents, and kids were all there together. We saw older couples there together who've probably been Star Wars fans since it came out in the 70s. And so it was such a wide variety of people who were enjoying it. And there were people who were super involved in every single mission from the minute they woke up to the minute they went to bed. They were in it and doing everything. There were people who spent a lot of time hanging out in the lounge or in the atrium and just participated in things here and there. And then there were people in the middle. So you truly can customize the experience and be as much or as little involved in it as you want to be. All right. So the big question, do I think it's worth it? First of all, yes, this is a premium experience. Okay. This is not an inexpensive vacation. This is going to be an investment vacation. Okay. Now, as much of a Star Wars fan as I am, going into this experience, I didn't know if it would be something that I would pay that much money for. Because for a family of 4, it's probably, depending on season, it's probably going to be somewhere in the range of $5,000 to $6,000, which of course, that's an investment. Okay. So I wasn't sure going into this experience if that was necessarily something that I would spend that amount of money on for my own family. Having done it, I absolutely think that I would pay that to do it again, because I watched these children. Now, my children were not there with me, but I watched these other people's children walk through this ship, having the time of their life, spending all day playing with a particular very well-known Star Wars character, absolutely living their best life. And so that is why that may or may not be the character in question that these children ran around hanging out with all day, trying to make sure that the First Order didn't find him on the ship. They were so bought in. They were having the time of their lives. I could see my children doing the exact same thing. And I was like, you know what? As a mom, to me, giving my kids that experience and that opportunity would be worth it. I do think that when you step back and you consider the things that are included, it's very much like what I always say with Disney Cruise Line. When you're looking at that price tag, consider what's coming along with that. And so with this, you're getting a hotel, you are getting park admission, you are getting lightning lanes, you are getting all your food, and you are also getting these like top tier experiences. So many people love Savi's workshop in Galaxy's Edge, where you can build a lightsaber because it's an experience. Like, you're paying $200 per person, not just for the lightsaber, but for the experience of building it. You get to do multiple things with that level of immersive experience as part of StarCruiser. So you add all of those inclusions together and you understand the investment that you're making and the value that you're getting back out of that. And I think that it is worth it to me. Now, I am a big Star Wars fan. If you don't have anyone in your family who's a big Star Wars fan, you would still enjoy this, but it might not be something that you would necessarily want to invest in when you could invest that same amount in other things. So that really is just kind of something that you have to think about and decide on your own. I can see this being a really good add-on for a cruise. Like, I can see this pairing beautifully with Star Wars Day at Sea cruise for Disney Cruise Line. I can see this being some people, this experience is their whole vacation for that year. For some families, this might be something that they add on to the front or back end of a week at Disney. So it depends on what you want to do, how much you want to allot for your vacation that year. But having done it myself, I would invest in it to do it again with my family, because I think it was I think it was an incredible experience. And also too, my husband, who's sitting right over here running the back end for me, just made a really great point. It also includes the equivalent of character meals, because when you are eating dinner and there's characters there, when you're sitting in the lounge drinking a latte and eating a cheese plate, not that I did that way too many times, but there are characters in there, right? Like you're getting the equivalent of character dining lumped into that price as well. So you have to kind of think about all those things when you're thinking about the value. So that's the short version of the overview. I know it was almost half an hour long, but it truly is the short version of an overview. I will be going much more in depth and showing way more examples of the experience itself on my YouTube channel in the next couple of weeks. Oh, thank you, Susan. I appreciate it. I'm glad it was helpful. So thank you so much to all of y'all who, oh, thanks, Laura. Appreciate it. Thanks so much to all of y'all who watched. I love it when people join us for these lives. I especially love it when people make comments and ask questions. So thank you so much for that. If you're happening upon this and it's no longer live, still feel free to pop a question up and I'll be happy to come back and address those for you later. Yep, I can't wait to make it. It's going to take a while because it's going to be a lot of editing, but we're going to try to pump that out as quick as possible. But it's going to be fun to relive it as we make that video. But again, thanks so much for watching. If you'd like more information about the StarCruiser, or if you would like pricing, the quote and booking process for this is a little bit different than it is for just like a standard Disney vacation package. So definitely send me an email at ginger@marvelousmousetravels.com. You can also message me through Facebook if you would like to. If you want to go directly through my quote form, you can go to my blog at GingerMMT.com and you can link to the quote form there. But let me know if you are interested in pricing, more information, kind of how the terms and conditions work for this. I would love to help you out with all of that. But for now, I'm going to sign off. Thank you all again so much for watching, and I hope you have a great night.